proudly presented by Zaxby's. Indescribably good. 9 locations in the Big Bend area, I guess you could say, although Douglas, Georgia, and Thomasville, not quite the Big Bend. That's where Corey Clark's at usually, though, with us, Georgia. How are you, Corey? Hello.
Good. Had Zaxby's last night, as a matter of fact. Brady was I guess he had gone with Shanna to Zaxby's and gotten a Caesar salad, tasted some of her Caesar salad with chicken that he really liked. So he made me order that for him last night. We call it a Caesar salad, but he got ranch dressing. So I don't know where we fall on that. I mean, it's still the lettuce, whatever that lettuce is in a Caesar salad. It's like
romaine. The romaine,
yeah.
the romaine.
Still had croutons, but just not the Caesar dressing.
Both Corey and I work for Warchant.com. Use that promo code Warchant30 for 30 free days of access to the ultimate Seminole sports source. Ira's done a nice breakdown of what to look for on offense in terms of the roster turnover. Corey did a story earlier in the week about what you can expect from some of the star players that are coming off injury, all that and more over on Warchant.com. Again, the ultimate Seminole sports source. But here on YouTube, folks, if you're not already subscribed to our channel, if you get that little subscribe button right below Corey, maybe right around the Zaxby's logo, it's free of charge. You set the notifications for however and whenever you want to get your notifications sent to you, and it counts. That's how they keep score on these things. And hit the like button. We would very much appreciate that. We're going to open the phone calls, the phone line as we do usually, Corey. So we'll take phone calls from our esteemed viewers and subscribers. I mean, you can be a Warchant.com customer and call in, or you don't even have to be one. So we'll do that, and we'll talk about some Florida State stuff. We'll try to stay away from the COVID talk. Apparently, people don't like hearing about that on their sports shows. I don't know what that's all about, Corey. What's that all about? I wish
there was sports to talk about. I can't wait till the NBA and Major League Baseball start up. I can't wait till they start practicing again for colleges. Yeah. But it does kind of dovetail a little bit into sports, I would think.
Yeah. So your boy, though, real quickly, I try to do the right thing. Like I'm staying indoors. So I was actually working outside on my front porch. And I don't know what you call those. Like it's like a picket fence, but like whatever my deck has on the front deck, like there's those posts, slats, whatever, like every 6 inches. So I put a resistance band around it and then wrapped it around my waist to do lunges. And like I yanked it right off, and it scraped the heck out of my knee. Like I'm bleeding down my leg right now still. I'm probably going to get tetanus. So I try to avoid COVID, but I think the post came off and the nails in it scratched my leg. So I'll probably have tetanus, and that's the way I will meet my demise. But before I leave this planet, there's one person I want to speak to. Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. First caller of the night. Who's this?
Hey, Aslan. Hey, Corey. It's Gator Kirk. How you guys doing tonight?
What's up, man?
Good, G. What's going on, man? What's good in Virginia, friend?
Hot as heck. Probably not as hot as there, but hot and humid. So we're having a little bit of Florida weather before we get some rain this week.
Very nice, very nice. What's on your mind, man? You always want to talk football, and you usually have some good questions. Set us on the road for a good show today, man. What's up?
All right. With official football workouts supposed to start on Monday, will the press be invited to possibly interview coaches or players? And did Bob LaCivita leave the program? I know he was hired kind of interim, like before Norvell. Is he still with the program doing anything?
Corey, are you texting Ira to find out the answer to the one about Bob LaCivita?
No, but that's a good idea. I am looking it up. I'm going to look it up and see what I can find out.
I wouldn't expect us to be able to go out there and talk to the players and stuff, because from my understanding, I think, Corey, isn't this still like this is going to be player run stuff? Is this official stuff that's happening? I know they're giving a 6-week camp, but they are going to be starting up. We haven't heard anything from FSU Sports Information Department on access. It's not something that we typically get access to. Maybe they'll mix it up, but I just feel like right now with things, they probably don't want to put any different variables into the mix, if you will, whether that's us talking to the players and us being around each other as media members. So it might be less is more kind of approach. But if we're out there, you know where the videos will be. They'll be here on the website for you on Warchant and on YouTube as well. We pulled Bob I can't even say his last name. It's almost as tough as Lin-Manuel Miranda, Corey. But I remember, like, he was an innovator. He was doing that over in Gainesville for Urban Meyer, and then we poached him away eventually. And then Willie kept him, but then let him go. And where's he at now? Do we know?
We don't. He's not on the Seminoles.com website, so it would not look like he's part of this administration anymore. I would be. I mean, no. I think they're going to start doing like real workouts here soon. That's the schedule. It's not just supposed to be play or run because if you think about it, Aslan, if you do the math, we're pretty close to 6 weeks.
We are, right? Yeah.
We're almost in the middle. We're getting close to the middle of February now. So I would think we haven't heard anything from Sports Information, but I would assume with many parameters in place that we will be out there at some point to talk to players from a safe distance and coaches from a safe distance.
Oh wow, look at you! You're optimistic. I don't think so.
I'm very optimistic. Yeah, we got to get back to normal, even if we're standing 12 feet away with masks on. That's our normal right now. So let's get there and do that. But yeah, I think maybe not all 5 or 6 people representing Warchant would be there. Maybe they limit the number. So obviously I can't go. I would love to go, Aslan. You know that. I would love to be up at about 9:30 in the morning to go watch those guys, but I'm up here in Georgia.
Mandatory workouts, strength staff starts on the 13th. So I think that's just like weights, running, conditioning, and then coaches is July 24th, I think.
Okay. All right.
So, yeah, I mean, there you go. You have a split decision right there. G. Corey thinks they're going to let us in with arms wide open like we're Creed. I don't think so. I mean, I'd love to. That's my job. I want to be out there, but I won't hold my breath on it. But we'll post it if we do, man.
And one more, just
absolutely.
And I read today that we led the Power 5 conference in number of penalties for the year. So what improvements do you think our record will show if we can cut that down? I believe it was 126 for the season.
Oh boy,
they had 126. That's like 10. Did they really? I mean, I knew they were like one of the worst in the country, but that's 10 a game. It's just, oh boy. No, I mean, quite obviously, that would be a really big deal if you could cut those to like, if you it's kind of like the offensive line, right, Gator Kirk? Like as long as you're not the worst, it helps. Like if you just get to be below average when it comes to penalties, if you're like in the 80s around the country instead of 120th. If you're middle of the road in penalties, then yeah, that again, I don't know how you can do the math to figure out the wins above replacement and everything else, but I would assume when you think about some of the penalties in some of the games they had, you take some of the dumb penalties away, and that's another win or two. So again, I think cutting that stuff out, especially on special teams, but all of it, lining up correctly, in not so many defensive penalties, just all of it, the personal fouls and everything. If you cut some of that out, yeah, it stands to reason. Those are hidden yards. That's another, 40, 50. I mean, what did they outgain their opponents in penalty yardage by last year, Aslan? Like 40 a game.
Not that G needs to be fact-checked, but he is correct. They had the most penalties in the nation. They were 130th in the nation out of 130 teams in the FBS level, 9.15 penalties per game.
And you wonder, so that's probably an average of about 70 yards in penalties a game, something around there. And if their opponents had 25 or 30, well, that's 40 yards is a huge deal in a football game.
Well, Virginia game, one of those final drives against Virginia, I feel like they gave Virginia like half the field in like late hit penalties and personal foul penalties, yard variety stuff.
Yeah. So it's stuff like that. If they can clean that up, and it's a big if, because it was like that, before Willie took over, they weren't great. And quite honestly, in the dynasty days, they were never in the top 10 in like fewest number of penalties. They usually led the ACC in penalties, or were close to it. But if they can clean that up a little bit, just a little bit, and be okay, then yeah, I think it's another win or two.
All right. He has spoken. The Coracle. Gee, thanks for your call, man.
I'm way too close.
Right.
Thanks, man.
Y'all have a great night. Go Noles.
You know it, man.
I need to back up. Sorry, guys, for.
Oh, look at that. We just rolled out of one, rolled into another, man. Look at this. It's a busy evening. What's going on? Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. Corey's listening to you, so am I. I'm Aslan, and a whole bunch of Florida State fans on YouTube all across the country and the world. Who's this?
Hey, this is Noel 92, Kevin from Warchant.
All right, what's up, Noel 92? How are you? Where are you calling in from, Kev?
I'm calling from Atlanta.
Okay, there you go.
Nice. Well, hey, what part of Atlanta?
Yeah, I'm a charter member of the old Insiders Network with Dot, but I got a good scenario for you.
Okay.
Corey and Aslan, I want you to kind of tell me what you think of this scenario. What would be the epic meltdown if we have a scenario where certain Power 5 conferences play football, certain ones do not, and even go further than that? Let's say a scenario where Syracuse and Boston College are not allowed to play football due to their governors or whatever, and the ACC shuts down football for the entire conference because of that. Can you imagine a scenario like that breaking down?
No, they're not going to let two schools that aren't even really all that instrumental in the football success, I think, torpedo the entire season. McCord, do you want to imagine that happening?
Well, if it did happen, there would be, can you imagine our message boards? Meanwhile, like we're watching Georgia play Auburn, but Florida State isn't playing games because Syracuse opted out. That would be an epic meltdown. But no, I don't think that would happen either. I do think there's a chance that some schools might opt out, or maybe more accurately might bow out for a couple of weeks. Like, let us get this under control, and then we'll come back and try to play our remaining games if we can. I think that's a likelihood. I don't think a school just canceling a season. Swofford better not let Syracuse, he better not let anyone. He better not like Florida State. Even if Florida State was like, no, we hit a huge outbreak in Tallahassee, we can't play. That shouldn't stop other schools from playing if they're okay. So I don't think one or two schools out of 14 would be enough to torpedo an entire season. It's just not financially viable. They're going to do everything they can, and I know safety comes first. Yeah, we get it. But after that, it's just not. You can't just punt on an entire season because one or two schools deem it too unsafe to play. They just don't get to share in the TV and the football money. Would be if I was the commissioner, that's what I would tell them.
Are you bracing for that, Kev? Or is that just like sum of all fears?
Well, I'm always bracing. Well, I'm a big anti-ACC guy. I want any scenario that gets us out of this conference. I think it's been
sure.
Frankly, but I'm looking more of a scenario where it's not the school that decides to opt out, but it's, say, the governor of a state of New York or Massachusetts or even North Carolina, and says, you're not allowed to play due to this epidemic. So whether they wanted to play or not,
but don't you think even if that happened, I would hate for I can't remember who the governor in North Carolina is. Let's just go off the rails and say DeSantis somehow comes out and says he can't play. The three of us know that's not going to happen. But if he said, and he's because one of the few governors I know. So
Roy Cooper, governor of the great state.
If Roy Cooper comes out, well, that's different because that's 3 teams. I guess Florida's 2. But yeah, I don't think if you actually it's 4 teams. If the governor of North Carolina comes out and says we're not playing, now that's 4 of the 14 teams. That would be a little dicey, but still, no, that would not be fair to the schools that do want to play and have the resources to play and have the testing in place. So I can see that scenario. I don't think it would happen in North Carolina or Florida. But yeah, you're right. Like the governor of New York, the governor of Massachusetts might say it. And if they do, you say, that's a bummer. I'm sorry, Syracuse. We wanted to watch you guys win 5 more games this year. We really did. We love those 6-6 meandering mediocre seasons. They're awesome. But we're going to go on without you. We'll see you in 2021. I think that's the approach you have to take. That's the approach Swofford better take. If other governors are allowing these schools to play, and it's just one or two rogue governors in the conference, I don't think that should impact the rest of the
rogue governors. I mean, I think your head's kind of in the right place, Kev. I think Gene kind of hinted at this when we first started talking about this back in April. Probably was it'll probably be like university presidents before the governors. I think that would step in there. But I think to Corey's point, you talk about 2 schools trying to hold the whole conference over the barrel. I think all these university presidents realize how vital, or maybe to some more than others, obviously, but just how important it is to get this college football season off the ground. So I don't even think like Syracuse's president would stand in the way of Florida State trying to get a season going on, because they realize that that's so much a part of how Florida State's going to be able to keep their lights on, if you will. And this is kind of where I disagree with Corey. I think in that vein, then I think those presidents would be like, yeah, go ahead, play the season, but can we get a little bit maybe of the cut? I mean, maybe if the governors step in and say that we're not going to play, maybe the presidents have a little more ground to stand on. But I still think that the conference should still kick some of the money to those schools if they can't play. I mean, it's not like a lack of willingness. Like if they really
I was being mostly facetious, but yeah, if it's a governor saying you can't play, to me that's a whole lot different than the school choosing not to play. If you choose to opt out, like Nick Markakis isn't playing with the Braves, he's opting out. Man, you don't get paid. That's how it works. It's your decision. You get to make the decision, but you don't get any. You don't get the salary for it. And I think that would be the case with this too. But with governors, yeah, you should. If the governors mandate that they can't play, then yeah, I think you should kick a little money to them. Not much though. What is Syracuse going to do with that money anyway?
All right, Kev. There you go. Don't worry about it. There's going to be a football season, I think.
Hey guys, I just want to thank you guys for making what is a nightmare year just a little more survivable. So thanks all for your doing.
Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Kevin. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for listening.
Guys.
Thanks for listening.
Bye.
That's nice.
Where in Atlanta he was from, did he?
No, because it crossed over the signal and all that sort of stuff. One of these days I'll have an intern over here with like a real switchboard, and it'll be awesome. I can't wait.
Next year, buddy. Next year.
That national title money start rolling in. It'll be really good. Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. Who we got here on the phone line?
Oh, it's a Matt AMCZ.
Oh, hey, what's up,
doing?
man? Calling in from like the Naples Fort Myers area, that 239. Yo, what up?
Yes, sir.
How are you, man?
Yes, sir. I'm doing really good. I wanted to get your thoughts on the nomination for president, Aslan, that you got in the tribal council today. I would say not do it. Maybe like maybe the mayor of Tallahassee or Leon County Commissioner.
We're gonna, like I said, man, I'm flattered, especially because it's a grassroots thing. Like I didn't, put my name in the hat on this, but we're starting an exploratory committee. We're gonna see if 2022 and the Florida governorship, if the gubernatorial race could be in the cards. Maybe I got some people in some certain spots I think could help prop me up. And I mean, look how close it was between those two guys. So, I could probably be in the mix there, but yeah.
And we all know nobody is more beloved than Aslan.
Yeah.
Fan favorite, 100% approval rating. I don't see how you lose, man.
I'm just honest with people. They'll appreciate that. That's what people like.
Oh. No, I think you'd be a great leader. You're a rising star.
Thank you. Can I count on your vote? Can I count on your vote?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
That's all we get.
So I got a good one for Corey. I think this is right up his alley. So if you took the 93, 99, and 2013 national championship teams and they played a round robin, two loss elimination, who do you think comes out on top?
Man, I don't know if it's recency bias or not, but I go with the 2013 team. I think that, man, but 93, golly, that 93, but they lost. So I will say this. I think the 2013 Florida State team was better than the 93 Notre Dame team. And Notre Dame beat that Florida State team. So I just think from top to bottom, at least like the two deep on offense and defense, man, you're just so stacked. I don't know how that team would lose twice to 99. And 99 had a great team. They both, when you go down the line, like the 99 and 13 team had maybe the two best college kickers of all time. So that's a push. 99 had the great Keith Cottrell as the punter. So they have the advantage there. But yeah, I just think, golly, that's a hard question. Well, Aslan, what do you think? My first instinct is 13. I think the 13 had more NFL caliber players, and I think Jameis in 2013 was up until that point the best college quarterback I'd ever seen. He was awesome.
I blacked out there. We're talking about 13 versus 93. Is that the debate right now? Is that what's going on?
In 93. If they played a round robin.
See, I feel so hypocritical talking about those because I feel like the men who played football in 1993 were much more rugged men than like the guys that played in 2013. Maybe because I was a kid, like looking up to them, and then in 2013 I'm kind of looking down, if you will. They're obviously could, make mincemeat out of who I am. But I mean, just the way football is played these days is just so much more intricate and advanced. I feel like I give the edge of 13, man. That. Timmy's the difference. Timmy just wrecks everything.
Timmy's a big deal in the middle. Yeah. What do you think?
It's hard to disagree with 13. 99 had a bunch of NFL talent as well. It's unfair to compare, because there's a full 20 years between 93 and 13. But that 13 team was special. They just destroyed everybody in their path,
Yeah, and you look at you got Jalen, you got Jameis, you got Rashad, Kelvin Benjamin, the offensive line. Now the offensive lines on those 90s teams were really good too. Peter Warrick was incredible. Yeah, man, that's hard. I just think when you look at the 99 season, they didn't lose a game, but they played a lot of close games. And didn't play well at times. Like, I know Peter Warrick wasn't playing, but they struggled to beat an average Miami team. They were late in the third quarter of a close game against Virginia. They barely beat Clemson, which was a bad Clemson team on the road. They beat Georgia Tech by 6 points. They had a lot more close games where they let teams hang around. And I think if you like we saw in the Rose Bowl, if the 2013 Florida State team is challenged and they're hanging around, they're going to beat you. So that's why I just would assume that they win that game. But Winky was awesome. Winky weirdly gets overlooked.
If we didn't have the signal stolen from us in the first half, maybe it would have been a blowout.
See,
by 50.
I was going to jeopardize my ability to pull in the senior vote with this statement because, I mean, I don't know, can we give Jimbo credit for being a better game manager in that point of his career versus Bobby like in 99, 93, although then again, he was getting worked over for the first half of his signal, so maybe he's not as good of a game manager.
Right. Yeah, that's not a big feather in his cap. But yeah, I'm on record talking about the end of that Nebraska game in '93 and how just bumfuzzled it. The whole thing was just ridiculous. But they almost kicked that thing away. Terrible clock management and game management. But yeah, it's hard because when you build up one of these teams, and we'll get to another question. But when we build up one of these teams, it's almost like you have to denigrate the others. And I don't like doing that because they're awesome. They were all awesome.
Well said, Corey.
Yeah,
per usual.
true.
All right, Matt AMCZ, we'll see you probably on Friday for Renegade Express, I assume.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Just
an amazing job and very entertained. Thanks very much.
Thank you, man. We're trying. God knows we're trying, man. Appreciate it.
Whatever we can.
Yes, somebody totally oops, where are we doing that for? Somebody totally roasted us or me. I mean, us, but I'll take the blame on it because I got to drive us into better terrain. It was just like that show was terrible on Monday or whatever. He's like, maybe you guys should get tested for COVID before you do a show again. I don't even know what that meant. Hurt my feelings though. Anywho, let's see if this will pick us up. Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's, which is indescribably good. You already know that. You already know that Corey's here too. Who we got here on the line?
Hey, this is Junior. I am all the way in Denver right now.
Junior in Denver. Junior, okay, all right. I got you. You're not the one that used to be in New Mexico sometimes, right? That's somebody else that calls in, I think.
You know, that is not me at all, but shout out to that guy.
All right, right on. Okay. Right on. All right, there we go. How's Denver treating you?
It is wonderful. The mountains are beautiful, and it is a lot of beautiful scenery.
What was the high temperature? What was the temperature today in Denver?
Is hell a temperature? That's probably what it was today.
Oh, really? Does it get like that in Denver? I thought you were going to say like 79 with a breeze.
No, it has been super hot. It's weird.
All right. Well, what happens out there. It's summer out there too, so.
Crazy weather in Denver.
Yeah. Anywho, we're not meteorology majors. We're liberal arts guys. What's on your mind, Junior? What are you thinking about out there in Denver?
All right. So I got two questions for you.
Okay.
First one, if you could replace Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Pittsburgh, and North Carolina in the ACC with any four teams in the country to make the ACC the best conference in America, who would they be? And if Leonard Hamilton were to step down just, tomorrow, who would your top three candidates be, realistically?
Why are we kicking out North Carolina if we want to be the best conference in the country? North Carolina's good, man. They bring a lot to the table.
Trash. They haven't done anything in 40 years.
Basketball team is good, man. They're baseball
pro. Football. Just football.
Well, that's not how it works unless you're Notre Dame.
Go along with the hypothetical and play the game. I'll answer it, man. I apologize for Aslan. Okay, I'm going number one, Oklahoma, because you can beat Oklahoma. You don't want to say Alabama because Alabama I just think they steamroll. It's going to be Alabama and Clemson. Oklahoma gives you enough cachet, but you can also drop 50 on them. So because they never have a defense. So I like Oklahoma in there. I like, can we say Notre Dame? Just throwing them like full-time, full-fledged in there. And then we need somebody else for I maybe replace Georgia Tech with Georgia. And then who do you want from the Big Ten, Aslan? See, I know you could always just say Ohio State, Alabama, blah, 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 and you'd have 4. But we're talking about trying to get Florida State you get credit for winning your conference as opposed to just, oh, you beat a bunch of also-rans. But it's winnable. So I think if you throw Georgia, who hasn't won a national championship in 40 years, you throw Notre Dame, who hasn't won one in 32 years, Oklahoma, who hasn't won one in, 20 years, and then who else? Michigan?
Wisconsin?
There you go. Wisconsin's perfect. I don't think they've won one since, since the car was invented. So those are 4 big-name programs. They join your conference. You immediately have the credibility of being in a strong conference, maybe the best conference, but it's winnable. Those are my 4. Now I'm going to go get a drink.
Wisconsin claimed one national championship, 1942. So in Corey's world, that doesn't really count. As for who's going to replace Leonard, man, I don't know. Like we've talked about it before. Like Shaka Smart seemed like a slam dunk to Texas, and look what he's doing. And meanwhile, Rick Barnes is in Tennessee, and he's killing it. So I don't know. Maybe CY, maybe promote from within. I don't think Stan. I don't know how much more gas in the tank Stan's got left. Although he still looks youthful, but
you don't want to hear that. Yeah, I think an assistant is certainly a possibility. As far as realistic, I mean, again, as good as Hamilton has left it, and he's left it in such a better place than he found it, or will be leaving it in such a better place than he found it. I don't know that you're going to go and get like a guy from a Power 5 conference or a group, whatever we call them, a high major conference. The basketball terminology is different. So you're not going to get like a dude from the Pac-12, I don't think, or a dude. But you get somebody from one of the mid majors. I don't.
No way. An ACC program that's coming off like 2 Sweet 16 appearances and an Elite 8, like you got to go get Anthony Grant from Dayton.
I think just because I still think the basketball community understands the obstacles that are at Florida State. Even with what Leonard Hamilton has done, there are some obstacles, and not everybody can do what Leonard Hamilton has done. So you're not going to leave a lateral job, quote unquote lateral job, to go try to do what he's done, because what he's done is really, really hard. So that's why I think an assistant would make sense, or a guy from a mid-major type school.
What's our SEC equivalent when it comes to like football? Like are we the Ole Miss of ACC basketball? Like when it comes to football over there, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense or not. Like how do people? I mean, Florida State's in the best basketball conference in the nation, but we're not the Alabama of basketball.
Wouldn't it be like Kentucky in football?
No. I said it all wrong. I screwed up. You got anything to save me here, or you done with your questions?
I can't save you there, Aslan.
All right.
But I do have one last question though.
Right.
And I know this is just, I know it's crazy talk, but if the offensive line is somehow, let's say, above average this year, if we have games, which knock on wood, we're going to have games, all 12 of them. What do you think our record could possibly be?
We play 12, above average.
If the offensive line is good, or above average is almost good, which would be unbelievable, then yeah, there's no reason they can't win 10 games.
Yeah.
I mean, I think 10 is 9 or 10. 9 would almost seem like the floor if you can have a good offensive line, because that changes everything. You control the clock. You control the pace of the game if you want. You can grind out first downs when you have a lead. You keep your quarterback upright and out of the hospital. There's so many benefits to having a good offensive line. So, yeah, man, I think an above-average offensive line, because I think even an average offensive line, you got a chance at 9, because an average offensive line would be a huge step up from what we've seen. So above average, yeah, 10. I think 10 wins is doable. I ain't scared of that Miami team.
Thanks, Junior. Appreciate the call, man. Have fun out there. If I knew a good bar to go to, I'd tell you to go to it, but it might not even be open right now. So just breathe in the air.
I'm getting ready to make this drive back to Tallahassee in the morning.
Ooh.
And nobody's wearing
Oh my gosh.
Corona doesn't exist. It's ridiculous.
I was going to tell you to have a brownie, but don't. Get some sleep, man. Be safe on the roads.
Oh, yeah. All right. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the call, man. Take care. Okay, to follow up on some fact checking from earlier, this comes courtesy of our managing editor, Irish O'Fell. Stop calling, people. Stop calling into our call-in show.
Don't blame me. Don't blame them.
Hey, who's this?
Hey, this is Jeff Hill from Lakeland, Florida.
Jeff Hill from Lakeland. Hey, Jeff, hang on one second. I'm going to keep you here on the phone line. I just want to clarify something here. Ira let us know. I texted Ira on the group chat. So Bob Lasavita. I can't say. Much love to him. He retired. He hung around to help Odell with the transition, but he has since retired. Also, the next week is 8 hours of workouts and meetings. 2.5 weeks is actual practice, pads, that kind of fun stuff. The things that we're all waiting on. Maybe in 2.5 weeks, I think at that point, yes, they'll allow us to come out and do interviews and hopefully film some of that because it is technically practice. It'll be 6 weeks out before the game. But coming here in the next week, that whole 8 hours of meetings and strength training, like we won't be filming that stuff, I don't think.
I feel like if we keep texting Ira in the middle of a show, then I'm going to start becoming a little bit more expendable. It's like I think the powers that be will be like, well, if they have to get all their answers from Ira,
not all
on the show.
I was on the right track. It clarifies and verifies, and then we got the Bob Lassie call. So, let's go to Lakeland. What's going on in Polk County, my friend? Hope he didn't hang up on us. You're still there, right?
Oh, yeah, I was just waiting.
Oh, sorry about that. How are you doing? Your name again, friend. I forgot it. I'm terrible at these things.
It's okay. It's okay. No, I'm a long-time subscriber. I'm a big Seminole fan from when I was a little kid. My dad went to school there, so
all right.
I've been a long-time listener. Love your show. Love everything you do. You guys do. But my question, I got a two-part question. If whatever type of season we have, how do you think that's going to look at the end of the season, wins and losses with the COVID-19? Are we going to have? We're not going to have what's the playoffs going to look like? How's the bowl games going to look? Are they going to be shortened? It seems with all this going on, I just don't know how that's going to look. And the worst case scenario, what if there's no season? What does that mean for college football moving forward in the future?
Don't say that.
Those two things scare me. I know I don't want to say that, but you have to think about it.
Yeah,
it scares me.
They'll just play it in spring, right? Like they cannot go an entire academic athletic calendar year without football.
We can't speak in absolutes because there's no way you'd have told me a year ago that they wouldn't have March Madness because of a virus. I just would not have believed it. Or a Major League Baseball season would be shortened by 102 games if they played at all. So there are no absolutes. But yeah, the easy answer to the college football, if they don't have it, it would be disastrous for almost all of the universities involved. Some more disastrous than others. Some would have to shut down, not many, but schools would have to shut down some athletic programs to make up for the loss of revenue. That's just the reality of it. It's terrible. We all hope it doesn't happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but that would be the consequences of not having a season. There would be billions of dollars lost, legitimately, billions and billions of dollars lost from athletic departments around the country. As for shortening the season, what it's going to look like. Yeah, man, I don't know. Like right now, I'm kind of the opinion that it'll be probably maybe just conference games only. Maybe they just, if they're still worried so much that they start the season in the middle of September, so they shorten it to 8 or 9 games. And I guess you have a playoff. Or maybe this year they go back to the old computer systems and the computers determine the national champion. I don't know if they're going to feel comfortable doing that whenever that would be in January. But, that's such an unknown what this thing is going to look like in 6 months or 5 months to even harbor a guess. But, I do think there's a chance that maybe they just say we're only playing 1 game for this season. It's just the top 2 teams. We're not getting 4 involved. Or they just say, hey, we're going to let voters vote. and we'll all get to relive like 1991 again or 1990 again, and what that nonsense was like. But yeah, I don't think playoffs are an automatic. But I certainly know that's what they hold because obviously the playoffs are a huge moneymaker. And so they definitely want to play those too. It's all about the will more than anything. And there's a lot of will to have those games played.
I do wonder about your run-of-the-mill bowl game, though. I mean, some of those games are so entrenched in their community. Like I imagine like the Sun Bowl would probably still try to fight on because they've been doing it there forever. But like the Beef O'Brady's Bowl, St. Pete Bowl, whatever it is, Gasparilla, Bad Boy Mowers Bowl. I don't know if that would happen because, I mean, obviously they depend a lot on, tourism and folks flying in to watch those games, and who knows what will be looking like in December and whether people are going to want to make those sort of trips. So that's kind of something to think about. But I mean, if they're still playing, if there's 130 FBS teams and there's, 110 of them are still playing football by the end of November, I'd find it hard to believe that they wouldn't find some way to get a 14 playoff off the ground.
Yeah, probably. I'm just saying if it just got disastrous for some reason, they would figure out another alternative. But I wonder, not to be a complete cynic, but say a couple kids get sick at the Beef O'Brady's Bowl. Well, your season's over anyway. Sorry, that was my cynical take on maybe why you could
punchline, no punchline, silver lining, nothing, just
still have bowls.
Just done. All right, we got you. All right, well, hey, don't want to rush off the phone. Do you have anything else for us?
No, I just want to say go Noles and let's hope for the best. Let's hope for the season because I can't imagine not having football.
What would we do? What would we do?
I can't imagine.
Watch hockey.
Yeah, that's right. All right, thanks for the call. Appreciate it.
All right, appreciate it. Thanks. Go Noles.
Yeah, so what's that all about? So the NHL is going to be in Vancouver. No, is it Toronto and Edmonton? Like those are their two hub cities, I think, that they're going to be playing all their games at.
Oh, smart. I thought the Major League Baseball would do something like that, but they did not.
That's crazy. Well, I mean, I thought it was going to have some North America. Well, that is North America. I thought they're going to have some United States cities, Pittsburgh, and some of those towns were in the mix, and they're like, no, we're just going to do it all in Canada. So good for them. Good luck with all that. Now we got another phone call, Corey. You know how that works. It's a call. Here it comes. Welcome on in to Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's. You got Corey and myself listening to you. A whole bunch of Florida State fans on the internet. Who's this?
It's Jeremy. How you guys doing?
Boom, 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 boom. Jeremy, what's going on? Doing well, man. How are you doing?
I'm hanging in there. Thank you for asking.
Even without your ketchup Lay's potato chips?
Oh, man. It's okay. Let that be the worst thing. But good point there.
You don't follow me on Twitter, folks. I talk about a lot of stuff that doesn't involve football. This week's topic has just been the random things that you can't find at the grocery store any longer because of this. I can't find this certain potato chip I like. It's Cape Cod, like white cheddar and sour cream. And 2 months, every supermarket I've been to, I can't find it, but it's okay. I've got Zaxby's in my life. I've got Jeremy calling in. I got Corey to lean on.
Well said, Aslan.
That's right.
We all know that Jimbo, when he first took over, did a great job improving the strength and conditioning program and nutrition.
Absolutely.
And that's one thing Willie fell short in. What have you heard so far with Coach Storms and Norvell's changes to the program?
Man, the way people talk, and I guess I have a little bit of insight on this because I did a story on Warchant earlier this week about the 3 kids coming off knee surgeries and just the advancements that have been made in the rehab of rehabbing the knee surgeries in the last 20 years and why kids can come back so much faster. And most of it really is the rehab. The surgery is better, but the rehab is there too. And I talked to Jerry Latimer, who's like the head, I can't remember his real title. It's like the head rehab specialist at Florida State. And he's been full-time since 11. And he could not say enough good things about the strength staff. He said they work with us better than anyone's worked with us. And he's like, look, everybody's been good that we've worked with, but these guys really know what they're doing. And he could not have been more complimentary of them. And then you talk to the players and the coaches themselves. And it's just that's pretty cool, Aslan, that you did that. It's right on the right. Just I say a name and you're right there. That when you talk to the players about these guys, they really seem to like what they're doing. The gains were noticeable anyway, just in the offseason, in the offseason conditioning that we saw in those first 3 practices. You could see the gains, but the players seem to swear by these dudes. It really is a shame that they got pulled away for 3 months and didn't get to work out with them like they could have. But by all accounts, the way the coaches talk about these guys and then the way the players talk about these guys, you've heard nothing but positive things. And, man, that is a huge deal in a college football program to have a good strength team, a huge deal.
Yeah. I mean, Norvell takes it seriously, too, because, I mean, I'm pretty sure he donated $1 million to his alma mater, Central Arkansas, strictly for their like nutrition program for their athletic department. So he obviously sees the benefit and how important that is to building the holistic student athlete. And
Right.
I don't want to dog Willie on it, but yeah, Willie didn't really give us a whole lot in terms of like a big picture sort of idea of what he wanted to build. I mean, we knew what he wanted to try to get done on the field, but there wasn't a lot of details or a sort of grand vision shared about the things he wanted to do off the field. Although he donated $1 million to, was it the football only facility he did? Thanks for that. Appreciate that. Well, that was nice of you. But yeah, no, Norvell and the staff, they're dedicated to it, man. Our quarterback almost weighs 200 pounds at 6'5". Awesome. All right, Jeremy.
Well, yeah, because not to kick them while he's down or not here anymore, but DeMarcus Walker did an interview recently and talked about that he came back to school and he couldn't believe that they didn't work out on Wednesdays and Fridays. So
Yeah.
I was wondering in that regard as well.
Well, you know,
How good they were.
practicing like the pros, Jeremy. Practicing like the pros. You know, got to be fresh.
Not playing like them, but practicing like them.
Yeah, that's how it is. Jeremy, thanks for the call, man.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Take care, my friends.
Take care.
Man, I looked it up. Our man Junior, that's his name, right, in Denver?
Yeah.
That's a 1,600-mile drive from there to Tallahassee. It says the quickest route is 23 hours and 18 minutes. Omaha looks like a Sunday cruise. It's like
this person's been calling in for a while now. Persistence pays off. Who's this that's called into the Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby's live on YouTube?
What's going on, guys? It's FSU Robert. How are y'all doing?
What's up, man?
I'm going to guess his name is Robert then. Is this Robert? The Robert from FSU Robert moniker. Okay. Fantastic.
FSU Robert. Yes, sir.
There we go.
I just had a question regarding the season, how it's going to play out as far as scheduling goes. Has there been any talk at all about splitting between fall and spring semesters? I haven't heard that idea kicked around at all.
As far as splitting up the season?
Yeah. So, let's say we have to push fall back and lop off, say, the first month of the season. Have they made any provisions or has there been any talk at all about a rollover, a spillover time period for the spring, or maybe doing the football playoffs in the spring? Anything of that nature?
I think probably. I mean, I don't know because I'm not in those meetings, but and we know the commissioners are talking a lot, and they are trying to come up with any scenario possible. So I do think I don't know if it's necessarily something that would be, option C, D, or X to split it up like that, because you obviously every alternative plan has some really big holes in it. Like, why would Marvin and Tamarian and Asante stick around and play in March when they're going to be drafted in a couple of months and they're not playing for national championship? So those are the things you wonder about. That's usually a time for kids to go get specialty training for the combine, for the workouts. And are they going to stay in school just to play 2 extra games or 3 extra games? But I think everything is on the table. I think that would be one of the last resorts to split it up. But here's the thing, like if they play 4 games and then for some reason they have to shut down for 2 or 3 weeks because there's a huge outbreak or something, then yeah, I could see them going, look, we're going to reconvene in 2 months. We're going to hit the pause button. We're going to reconvene in 2 months. We're going to finish out the season. It's not ideal. Again, it's not ideal, but it's better than just playing 4 games or 3 games. You know what I mean? Like I could see them discussing that scenario, because isn't that better than just saying, all right, well, we played 3 games, we're done with the season.
But the thing is, so you do that because there's an outbreak. Well, in those 2 months, I mean, it's not like you just stop playing for 2 months, everybody self-isolates, and then you start playing football again. Like, we got to get back in shape. You can't that's the whole thing the NFL's battling on now, is the fact that there's no preseason games. and they want to make sure they have plenty of time to at least get ready for the regular season. They don't want to be rushed into doing that. I mean, that'd be kind of a tough sort of sell.
Again, it's not this. Think of a spring football season and like what that does to your roster. Because I don't think any of us would blame those guys for saying, if the draft's in 2.5 months, maybe I'll play the first couple games. Maybe I'll torch Sanford for 7 catches for 180 yards, and then I'll be like, all right, that's good. I don't know that we could blame any of these guys because it's just it's something we've never seen before. Obviously, it's something that let's all hope we never see again. It's just all these crazy obstacles, and no fallback plan is a good one. But we might have to have one.
All right, Robert. Anything else on your mind?
No, that's kind of what I was thinking. I appreciate everything you guys are doing, and thanks for keeping the content going, even though there isn't a lot to talk about. Thanks, guys. Take care.
Robert, appreciate it, man.
You're on the boards, man. Oh, man. Yeah, it's tough to be in the content business.
I'm telling you. I saw somebody tweet about possibly, I think it was Pat Forty, about moving the basketball season up. And so instead of starting in October, they start like basically and trying to play up. I guess that's a
yeah, we'll see about that. I thought being indoors isn't a good thing. They got to worry about that.
You're right. Well, you can play on the outdoor courts.
Yeah, that's true. All right, welcome on into Wake Up Warchant presented by Zaxby. We're live on YouTube. Who's this?
This is Jay from Daytona Beach.
All right, Jay from Daytona Beach, man.
Okay.
He might have his name like engraved on the stool of the show. He's a regular, it seems like. What's on your mind, Jay? What's up?
Hey, man, I just remembered you guys were on. I had a quick question for you guys.
Huh?
And
so, like, what did you walk away from? What were you doing, Jay? And then you're like, oh my gosh, I forgot. Today they're live on YouTube. Like, what did you walk away from?
It's thunder and lightning bad here, man.
All right, so you're just hanging out. All right, I got you. All right.
It's small.
What's on your mind? What's up, man?
Did we lose them?
I don't know. Did we? Jay, come back.
Yeah. But you better call back, Jay. Now you got us worried that it's thundering and lightning a lot where you are.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Here, I'll stop talking. You go ahead. Your turn. Go ahead.
Okay, somebody posted something last night in regards to Cam Newton. He was like, I'm tired of being humble. And somebody posted a picture of him when he fumbled the ball. He didn't go for the recovery. And this made me think about QB1 or JB1. And my question is, a lot of times athletes get in a certain point in their career, and it could be college, high school, and it's a moment that happens. And they're never able quite the same after that moment, like when Tarver knocked out Roy Jones. But sometimes it happens in college. So I think it was the Clemson game when James turned around and like went out of bounds, went backwards like 2 or 3 yards. I know it's our guy.
Trying to get the first down.
Do you guys think he can be the same? And Corey, I know your theory on, you can coach them up if they got a good coach. Certain guys didn't have a good coach, but I tend to think pedigree has a lot to do with it. And I'm not sure. What do you guys think?
Do you know the play he's talking about, Aslan?
I don't recall that. I'm trying to pull up the play-by-play and see what it was or what it happened or whatever. I just remember him throwing that interception after they got they turned him over, which hurt.
17
backwards.
When did he run backwards? I don't recall.
Yeah, I vaguely remember that where like he just kind of avoided contact, which quarterbacks do, but it wasn't the right. I mean, I wish I could remember it better. If it happened in 1995, I would remember the exact play, what the score was, what yard line they were on. But since it happened last year, it's out of my head. But I do think that's a good theory about. I don't know. If it comes down to one play.
Oh, that's my fault. That's my fault. Carry on.
What happened there?
I'm on ESPN.com looking at the play-by-play. It did an autoplay video. Just go with it.
Okay, sorry.
Checking me.
So yeah, man, like I do think coaching can help, and I'm certainly not ready to give up on James Blackman. But there are, I mean, we've watched sports enough, Jay, that that there are certain moments or certain games where a kid a kid it can go two ways. A kid has like Dulkey's. People don't remember that before Dulkey, and I know this is 9 years ago. Yeah. Before that game Dulkey's had against North Carolina, he was awful for the whole first half of that season. I think going into that game, he had made like 19% of his 3-pointers. And then he goes and has the game of his life. And then now he didn't score 32 points again for the rest of the season. But when he was open, he was generally knocking it down. It changed who he was as a player. He just played with so much more confidence. So he would, he could score 9 points, but they were big points. And he always seemed to knock down the big shots after that. And you see him like buoyed with confidence. And the reverse can happen too. And now, I don't know if Blackman, I don't know that I would say it comes down to like a Clemson game where they were getting crushed anyway. But I think I would say the play that I thought really kind of encapsulated his season and kind of sent him on a downward trend a little bit was the Wake Forest game where he doesn't get that first down. I mean, you've got to get the first down there. You've just got to, and he doesn't. And there's plays like that I think build on themselves where maybe kids, all athletes will be like, you know what? It's 3rd and 3. Please don't mess this up. Please come through and make a play. Where the good players are saying it's 3rd and 3. Let's go. We're about to go make a play. You know what I'm saying? Like, I do think it changes the mindset of a competitor when they routinely come up short in the big pressure-packed moments. I don't know that I would say, there's Jerry Latimer again. I don't know that I would say that it was one moment where he's backing off of contact.
I was trying to pull it up. There's nothing I've seen. I don't have the memory that Corey has of any season with the clarity that he has of like 1991 or whatever. But yeah, there's nothing. I mean, he got sacked twice on a 3rd down, like 3rd and long. He got sacked, but there was no like.
I thought he was talking about this past year, man.
Maybe I'm doing a bad job describing.
Let Jay talk.
He was getting ready to go out of bounds, and the defender's like, okay, let's be at the sideline. And instead of going out of bounds, he ran back like 2 yards to get out of bounds to avoid the contact. Can't believe you guys don't remember that.
We're sitting here and parsing what happened against Clemson in 2019. Like one play changed anything.
But Jay, are you asking?
That's an indictment of who he is because that game had no shot. I don't know. I guess.
Jay, are you asking? Do you think that affects how his teammates view him?
Man, I mean, it could
be that would be more of a concern for me.
Like some plays, it's just hard to come back from as an athlete. And when I saw the play last night, I don't know if you guys know the Cam Newton play I'm talking about, but
yeah, that was a Super Bowl. It was a Super Bowl, wasn't it? It was a Super Bowl. He didn't dive on the ball. Come on, man. This apples to oranges, man. No, I don't think there's any one play that shot him mentally from who he can become. I think it's the fact that he's had 4 different guys in his ear calling plays and coaching him at practice. And he hasn't been blessed with the greatest receivers until this past year with Terry, obviously. I think
that's more of like when you hold yourself up to be, I'm a different kind of skinny. I'm a tough kid. I'm from Bell, and he is. Nobody doubts that. But when you do that, when you do kind of back off of contact in that moment, I don't know that he's any different. But maybe, and I'm just purely speculating, maybe the teammates view him differently. Like, man, what happened? Why are we busting it? Why are we throwing our bodies around, getting killed out here, and you roll up out of bounds to avoid that kind of contact? But also, I don't usually give quarterbacks that much grief, especially skinny ones. It's because, I mean, come on, man. James Blackman has been getting killed for 3 years behind that offensive line. 3 years. So Cam Newton posted the image of him not going for the fumble, or somebody posted it to him?
Somebody posted it to him because he was like, I'm tired of being humble. I'm I'm at the Patriots now.
Right.
So you guys, what I got, that's how I'm a monster. And they was like, yeah. I guess
that was a little disappointing of my man Cam, because I was rooting hard for the Patriots, and that's our Panthers, and I'll never root for the Patriots, but rooting for the Panthers in that Super Bowl. And it's like, dude, I get it. That was going to be some really kind of violent contact there, but the Super Bowl's on the line. Come on, Cam. But that dude was awesome that year. That was a bad moment. So do you think he hasn't really come back from that?
Well, they say the injury that he got is a tough injury to come back from, but Aslan now, and the reason I brought that up about James is because he's not shy about running the ball, but a lot of times when he gets hit, he fumbles the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a good thing. I'm not trying to. I cannot imagine that this one play that I don't remember. I don't even think Corey remembers. I think Corey's just trying to remember to be a good sport right now. Nobody who's listening to the show has been like,
I do vaguely remember it because I feel like, Jay, it looked so out of place of what a normal football play looks like. Like normally the quarterback will go to the sideline and they'll meet him there and they'll give him a push. But he straight up said nope and backed up so he wouldn't get caught. And that seemed so out of character for any normal football play, and it seemed out of character for James Blackman. But again, that whole day was nonsense. That whole game was disgusting.
Aslan, like many of my points, you'll see it later, and then just acknowledge it later.
Right, Jay. You tell him.
I promise.
Be a fan later, Aslan.
I got you. Well said.
Jay is
have a good night, man.
All right, take care, guys.
Yep. Yeah, I'm literally trying to find it because I'm going to pull it up and play. I vaguely remember now that you're mentioning
that's a lot to do, man. We can't ask you to do all that.
Well, it's not asking me to do it. I just want to look at it just to show what he's talking about, to illustrate. Although, hey, this still is a podcast, and people are listening to this on a Wednesday on their drive, and they're like, I don't care that much about it. Talk, Aslan, instead of.
We could talk more about Hamilton. Did you see it yet?
Yeah. Still haven't seen it. I didn't get any blowback on that, surprisingly enough. So that's pretty cool. Let's take a phone call, though, shall we? Welcome on into Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's. Who's this?
Hey, this is Mike. How y'all doing?
Good, Mike. How are you?
Doing pretty good. Can't believe I got to follow Jay. That's a hard.
Hey, what do you not like about James Blackman?
Yeah.
No, hey guys. So I'm tired of trying to figure out, hey, what's going to happen in the 2020 season, because it's just boggling the mind, and you just can't ever figure anything out because everything's changing day by day. So I've been watching a lot of old games and just trying to look and see, hey, this is what we used to be, and this is what we could be maybe one day. So I was watching the 2013 national championship, and I was just wondering, same team, same game, same plays, but pulled Jameis out on the last drive. Is there a quarterback since he left that could finish that game out?
Hornibrook for sure. Just those crafty lefty, making all the plays. Golson. No. At Florida State, no chance. I don't think.
Could 2016 Francois have done it?
No. No, I just don't think so. And maybe my view of Francois is still colored by the 17 season or the 18 season. But no, I don't think so. The throw to Rashad, where he ends up busting it down the sideline for the non-horse collar, is such a good throw, and it's thrown right on time. Yeah. And I don't know if you remember this, Aslan, but I wrote a story. I interviewed Jimbo about that last drive. You said, yeah, show it to the viewers for the now defunct, I think, Tallahassee Democrat preseason magazine, where Jimbo talked me through that entire drive, play by play. We watched the coach's film, and he told me what he was thinking, and it's really cool. If you guys haven't read it, maybe go on eBay and try to find it. But he talks about how that play is the key. Yeah, we diagrammed all the plays. It was really neat. And he said that throw, it's the read. He's got two reads on that side. But he makes the throw so quickly that he gives – like Rashad deserves a lot of credit too. But, Jimbo being the former quarterback wants to give the quarterback all the glory. And he also said, look, he gets it to him so quickly and in such the perfect spot that almost any good receiver is going to split that and go because he just threw it to him perfectly. So that play, obviously the Benjamin threat play is just kind of up there. He made a great throw to Freeman on the sideline later in that drive. And everything about it, you know what, to me, after the first completion, everything about it seemed like this is exactly this kid loves this moment. And he was built for this moment. And he knows he's going to win the game. Jameis Winston was in that huddle, not the huddle, in the shotgun before the first play saying, we're going to go win this game. And, man, ain't no chance.
I'm strong.
None of those other quarterbacks would have been brimming with the confidence that Jameis was. He's just awesome. I don't see how anybody – I'm sure it could have happened. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but I would not believe in any of the other quarterbacks to make that drive.
Part of the explanation from Jimbo, quote, knowing that if we catch it, we've got the first down already, but if he catches it and squeezes it a hair and the cornerback hesitates, which he did because we just beat him on an out route previously, you get that inside seam and you get north-south. How many times that happens in cover 2 is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just being able to see it, know it.
Get rid of it quick. Get rid of it quick. That's an awesome article, guys. I'm telling
Remember
you.
them guys? Remember these guys? Remember them?
Man, why couldn't we have this show back then, Aslan? How much fun would that have been?
Good grief, man. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. Yeah.
Do you have an answer? Do you think any of the other guys could have done it?
Malik Henry.
Yeah.
Got to get on campus first.
Yeah, touche. All right, man. Mike, is there anything else on your mind?
Nah, hey, Corey, how hard was it for you to wrestle to go to Georgia rather than Florida State when you went to college?
Not that hard because I knew at that point I wanted to get into journalism. And Georgia has a pretty good journalism program, and Florida State doesn't have one at all. So that made the decision pretty easy for me. It's funny. I actually thought I went to Georgia Southern for my first 2 years, and then could have transferred to Florida State or Georgia. And I decided to go to Georgia because of the journalism school, and I wanted to be a sports broadcaster. So the very first day I'm in orientation, and I'm at the journalism building, and they're like, "Oh, okay, you want to be a sports journalism major?" I'm like, "Yeah." And you want to be in broadcasting? That's what you want to focus on. And I'm like, "Yeah." And they go, "Okay, well, you have to have a minimum 3.75 GPA to be in the sports broadcasting school." I'm like, "Okay, well, what else can I do?" And then I saw print journalism was like a 2.2 minimum. I'm like, "Well, there you go. I guess I'm going to be a writer." So that worked out well, but. Yeah, it wasn't that hard. My dad only had one rule if he was going to help me pay for college is that it couldn't be Florida because Florida had journalism school too.
Look at that. I keep telling you how much I dislike Florida over Miami, Corey, and your old man was even like, you could have maybe gone to Miami, but Florida, absolutely not.
I think if push comes to shove, he'd have been like, yeah, okay, fine, go. But he would not have enjoyed it, and he would have never visited me.
Oh, man.
Awesome.
All right, Mike.
Hey, thanks, guys. Y'all have a good night.
Appreciate it. There we go. Look at that, man. Time flies when you're having fun. We've hit it. We've done an hour. We'll adapt this into a Wednesday podcast for those who watch us here on YouTube. We appreciate it. If you could, again, hit that like button or subscribe to the YouTube channel, that's super cool and appreciated. Otherwise, we'll do a recruiting chat tomorrow night, Wednesday, 7 p.m. with Michael Langston. No calls. We're just taking everything off the premium recruiting board and you folks who post on YouTube. Corey, you want to hang out on Thursday? Do you Renegade Express for Friday?
Yeah, man. You know me. I love doing that stuff. I was going to say, so Ira's numbers were pretty huge last week, right? When I couldn't do it?
Pretty big. Yeah, pretty big.
All right. Again, we not only was he on the show and got big numbers, I think maybe it's the novelty. That's what I'm going to chalk it up to, is people get accustomed to my greatness. But with Ira, they never know. So they want to see what he's all about. And, I think it's just the novelty. It's like a guest spot on, like, if Brad Pitt guest spots on Friends. They're going to get big ratings, but he can't be a series regular.
He can't grind. He ain't cut out for this.
Grind.
He's not cut out for this.
He's not cut out for that at all. He can't do this. Only one person in America can do this.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching and listening. Stay connected to warchant.com. It's your ultimate Seminole sports source. Have a great one, everybody.